board so you can kind of read and see. I know some of you have been asking about credit protection. So that's up and running. Record the So those of you that are doing the credit protection, just kind of, I will send something more formal so you can kind of, with the dates and all that stuff, I just kind of wanted to give you an outline. You can actually start on it already. So if you're doing a credit protection, it's on Delta Math. I'm not sure how it looks, but you should have had an additional classes added to you. So the way that works is you'll have to, I think most of you, if not all of you, have to take all 3 tests. So before you take a test, you'll have to do the review. So the review, once you finish the review, then you can take the test. So that's how that works. You have about 4 weeks to complete the credit protection. You have until Thursday, April 15th. That'll be the last day, and then we go from there. I am going to make it required that you attend the Zoom on Tuesdays, 3:45 to 4:30. Those are who are doing the credit protection. I will make it required, and but that's just if you need any help. But as soon as you finish the credit protection, you no longer have to attend. So it's at your pace. So those of you that did the credit recovery, it's similar, but it's not through Edgenuity. It'll be through Delta Math. So it's going at your pace. So however, as soon as you finish, you're finished. You don't have to continue the program. You get it done. But again, there's 3 reviews you have to complete in each test. And you have to pass with at least 70%. You can retake a test if you fail it, but you're going to have to redo the review. So to get it, if you want to retake the test, you can, but you have to redo the review before you're allowed to retake it again. So that's how that's going to kind of work. They're going to be on every Tuesday from 3:45 to 4:30. That's not to say that you can't work on it on your own. If you want to start on it today, you can. The 4:30 is just designed so if you have any questions, you need help with division, synthetic, whatever it is you need help with, that's what I'm going to be there for. To just kind of check in for those of you that want to do the credit protection. So again, if you have any questions on it, just ask, and then I'll get back ready for you guys. But again, that starts today, so it's already available. If you don't see it in your Delta Math, let me know. If you feel like you should be on there and you're not, ask me. But I think I did put everybody in there. Everybody should be invited. Whoever didn't get credit the first 9 weeks, that's all that. If you didn't take your quiz on Friday, make sure take your quiz. Go ahead and who's given on Friday. There have been already 2 homeworks in the quiz, so just make sure you're keeping up with that. And then that's about it. So again, if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask. Some of you came in late. I didn't check your name on, so make sure you do the Google or the daily warm up if you're at home, just to get that for you guys. All right. Real quick. Before I start the notes, I wanted to show you guys something. I think we talked about it last time. What we did on Wednesday of last week was nothing but formulas. Today will be the same thing. Most of what you're going to be doing is just plugging into a formula. That's it. Use the decimal scientific calculator. You can just Google it and it'll pop up. This one's going to be handy today. So I'm not going to, because of how the string's set up, I'm not going to be going back and forth, but just know that all these answers that I get today, you can get those just using the scientific calculator. Just real quick, one of the, I'll come back and show this, but just keep in mind that all these answers, you can get those on Delta Math. I'm really just going to show you how to plug it in and all that stuff. So today's going to be much of the same. I know you can't see that, but I think this bigger. Today's going to be much of the same. The only thing that's going to be different is we're going to look at what's called compound interest. And so just like last time, we had all these formulas. Those of you that are here in person, you have the handout. Those of you at home, I didn't post it this morning, but I'll get it posted here. I'll kind of go through here and I'll show you how to use these. But compounded interest is just like investing money. You know, when you put money in your savings or your bank, you get an interest. It may not be much. You might get say $8 or however, depending on how much you use your debit card. It's some sort of added on to what you already have. But there are different types of interest that we're going to look at, but they're all pretty much the same. Compounded interest means how often are you taking interest? You can do it in multiple ways. You can do annually, you can do quarterly, you can do monthly, you can do daily. If it's annually, that means you just do it once a year. If it's quarterly, you do it 4 times a year. If it's monthly, it's 12 times. And if you do it daily, it's 365 times a year. You will have to come back and you'll use these. When anytime you do compounded interest, you'll always use those. So what I did up here is I broke everything down for you. It's the same variables like last time. The terms are pretty much the same. P is going to be your principal balance. R is your rate. N is going to be how many times are you taking interest for the time period, as I mentioned down here below. And then T is how many years you're going to do it for. So most of these problems of delta math are actually pretty straightforward. They're not level 1, which is the first part that we're doing. Level 1 is just plug and chug. That's it. You're just going to plug it in, calculate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, when you read a problem, and they're all worded the same. They don't change. The only thing that changes is how often it's compounded. So for example, if I look at the very first one, it says Henry invested $59,000 at a rate of 2% quarterly, compounded quarterly, assuming that he doesn't make any more deposits or withdrawals.
Good morning, teachers. Sorry for this interruption. If you can please take a moment to take your attendance, we would greatly appreciate that. Again, if you can please take this moment to take your attendance. Thank you.
So actually the hardest thing about the delta math is this is how you have to answer it. It changes. And I was going through some of the problems. The first one is rounded to the nearest cents. By the way, this is after 20 years. So these are the important numbers. We're going to use that real quick. That's going to be the trickiest part. So when you're taking the test for this unit, make sure you round correctly. That's what I'm going to show you how to round. This one's to the nearest cent. So I'll kind of show you. So real quick, I'm just going to write down what everything is. The 59,000, that's your principal. So your P is how much you're starting off with. Your rate, remember to move the decimal 2 times to the left, always. So if I look at this number here, make sure that you take the 2%, you move the decimal 2 times to the left, always, or it's going to be wrong. So we'll put 0.02. The compounded quarterly means you're going to do it 4 times a year. So we're going to use n is equal to 4. And finally, t is 20. All the first problems on level 1 are just like that. The only thing that changes are 2 things. How to round it, and then number 2, is it compounded daily, monthly, quarterly? That's it. Then just plug it. Again, you're going to have to be careful with the rounding. So this one here, again, you're just going to plug this in. So this would be, I'm going to plug it into the formula, which is up here, by the way, at the very top. I'm just going to use that. So this would be A. I don't have to. 59,000, 1 plus 0.024. This can all be done on that decimals calculator that I just showed a little while ago. You just type it in just like that and it gives you the answer. Easy. It's just plug and chug. You're just going to type this into this decimals calculator and type it in there. If you need help, let me know. I can probably do one here in a little bit. It's hard to do it on the smart board. I don't have a keyboard because you have to use the caret key. Anyhow, let me show you how to round these. So when I put it in the calculator, this is what I got. I don't know what this number is. I don't know what it was. But if it's asking you to round it to the nearest cent, you have to round to this number here. I didn't write down the number after that. It must have been, I've never rounded up or down. But the point is that this is what you would enter into Delta Mac. If you enter anything different, I think it's going to mark it wrong. So you have to be careful with those. So for example, this one here, the same kind of problem. You're investing 30, they're all worded the same. 3,900, 2.1%. This one's compounded monthly for 14 years. How do they want you to round it? It changes every time. This one has to be rounded to the nearest $10. Kind of weird, right? So again, the setup would be the same. So you would do is 3,900. R is 0.021 because you move the decimal 2 times to the left. Compounded monthly, your N is 12. And if you want to do it for 14 years. Easy. So it's like that every single time for level 1. You have to do, I did put, there's 4 or 5 of these on the homework, but there's one of each. There's the compounded annually, daily, quarterly, but they're all going to be done this time. So you can expect multiple of these on the test. The easy ones to get right. So plug it in. A is how much you made with the interest, right? So just plug it in. And then I'll show you how to round. Like I said, the rounding is going to be probably the. If you have any questions, like why I'm putting certain numbers where, just ask. And then you just type that into the calculator. I'll probably show how to do one of these on both, just to make sure that you're okay. If you have any questions, make sure you practice using them on the Desmos. Anyways, you type that in, and this is what I got. So now, this says to round to the nearest $10. Remember, you can get the right answer, but if you don't put it in right, you may get it wrong on the test. So the $10 mark is right here. You have to round it to that one. Since it's 31, and I'm rounding back to the nearest tens, that's just 30. Had the one been 5 or more, you add one more. So if you round this to the nearest $10, the answer would then be like this. Make sure you read the problem, especially if you're taking the test or quiz, right? So make sure you're rounding correctly. This is what goes into the delta now, right there. So make sure you round. Read. So the next one is, I forgot to put the formula on this one here. There's 5 types of compounding. There's annually, quarterly, monthly, and daily. The 5th one is called compounding continuously. What this means is that it's non-stop taking interest, non-stop, okay? All the time, just constant. So there's a special formula for this one. So this one I did not write down. You might want to write this one down. It's not, I forgot to put it on the notes. It's A is equal to, P is still your principal, R is your rate, T is your time. What's new here is that letter E. You know how pi is 3.14? E is kind of the same way. It's a special number. It's a special ratio. It's 2.71 and it goes on forever, just like pi. So I don't know if you guys at home, I think you can, but on my screen, this is the Desmos scientific calculator. If you click on function, the letter E is down at the bottom. That's what you're going to use. You can use your iPhone or your Android, but I recommend use your scientific calculator. Do not use your iPhone. Use this one. This one would be a lot easier, so make sure you use that. Okay. So let me go back. So again, E can be found on the calculator. So everything else is the same. This would be, your P is 350, your rate is 0.04, your T is 20. This one doesn't have an N. That's it, you just plug it in. So you're going to do A equal to 350. T, your rate is 0.04, and then your T is 20. And you go from there. Again, you would type this into the decimal scientific. You type that in there. Letter E, it's in the calculator. This one says to round to the nearest dollar. So again, this is what I got for this one. So if it says to round to the nearest dollar, that means you want to round to right here. Now, that means you look at the number next to it. I look at this one. If it's 4 or less, you let it rest. If it's 5 or more, you add one more. So that means this one we let it rest. So the correct answer would be 556. Remember that the rounding is going to be key on this one. That to me is might be the trickiest part. Just got to be careful what and how you have to answer this question. Again, they're pretty easy. If you're using the right, if you know what formula you're using, nothing changes. Everything else is kind of like the same stuff. It's not too bad. So again, there's going to on level 1, there's going to be 5 of these, one of each. You have like a 365, a 4, 12, stuff like that. Different compounded, you do one of those. You can knock these out quickly today. I mean, just plug them in, just plug and chug. All right. Just real quick, before we end the notes, on the back side, it's just solving backwards. So it's the same formulas, but what I did here is I solved them for you, so you don't have to make it easier for you. These are going to ask you, what is the principal? In other words, let's say that I wanted to, when I retire, I want to have $20,000. How much do I have to invest today so that in 10 years it grows to $20,000? So you would ask, we're going backwards. You're going to find out how much do I have to invest. You're looking for the principal. So when you're looking for the principal, these are the 2 formulas that you're going to use. If you're compounding daily, annually, quarterly, monthly, you're going to use the one in red. If it's solving for P, but it's the continuous, you're going to use the one on the right. You can tell by reading the problem. It'll kind of tell you which one it is. So if I look at this first problem, it says, Brody is going to invest in an account paying a rate of 7%, compounded daily. Because it says compounded daily, we're going to use this one. All right. If it says, like on the second one, it says compounded continuously, you would use the blue one. So if it's daily, monthly, quarterly, any of those, you use the red one. And then for continuous, you use that one. All right. So really, you're just going to plug it in. It's the same concept, except on this one, you're looking for the principal. So we know the rate is 0.07. Compounded daily. That means your N is 365. And he wants to reach his final goal. That's your A. That's 370 for 11 years. Everything's going to be given to you. You don't have to. You're really not even solving backwards because you're just plugging it. It's the same as the front. You're just going to plug it in. So you're just going to plug it into that one right there. Okay. So we're going to do. So this is. I'll write it down here so you can see it. I think I did it wrong. I did it right. Okay. So just plug it in. It's recognizing which, if you know which formula to use, it's not bad at all. So if we're looking for the principal, we're just going to plug everything in. So you're just going to do 370, 1 plus, your rate is 0.07. Your N is 365. Your N is 365 times 11. And you can just type that in just like that into the scientific calculator. Again, notice that this one's rounded to the nearest $100. Make sure you read that. Okay. Like I said, that's probably going to be the trickiest part. So for this one, I got but because it says to round to the nearest hundreds, this is your hundreds right here. So this is obviously closer to 200 than it is to 100. So your correct answer would be 2. They round weird on this one. So like I said, you're going to be rounding all over the place. Make sure you read the question on these right here. So again, you're just solving backwards. This one we're going to do the blue or purple, whatever that is. So we would do this formula. Because you're solving for the principal. Go from there. This is your A, right? So A is 690. E is 6 years. Your rate is 0.025. And I know that I'm using this formula because it says compounded continuously, so I use that formula. All right. Just plug it in. Plug it in. So this would be 690 over E. Your rate would be 0.025. And then your T would be 6 years. And then just type into the calculator, punch and crunch, and then it gives you this one says to the nearest $10. Here's your 10th place. So you just look at this number. So if I run to the nearest 10, that's 590. So the answer would be 590. That to me is the trickiest part of this. Okay. So there's another skill on there, but it's nothing new. You should be able to solve it. Really just skills 1 and 2 on the homework. So let me just show how I'll do one of these problems on the scientific calculator just to show you how to type it in. I'll do one with E and one without E. And then I'll talk about credit protection again here in just a little bit. But let me just show this right quick. Yes, sure. Okay, then I'm just going to type one in here. This is just the Desmo Scientific, just to show you how easy it is. This was number 1 that we did today. So I'm going to type in 59,000 parentheses 1 plus. As soon as you hit, so like the next part is a fraction. So I do 0.02. Then I hit what? The moment you hit divide, it automatically makes a fraction for you. So I mean, it makes it really nice. Now to do powers, you're going to hit, you want the key, like if you have a laptop, yes, sir. Right in the back. If you want to do like a power or exponent, you're going to do shift, if you have a laptop. Shift, actually you can probably do it on here somewhere, but I just do shift and 6. And then I do 4 times 20. And then that's the problem we did earlier. And then you can see the answers over here to the right, which is what we got on there. Just make sure you round correctly. Oh, hold on. I forgot to put an extra 0 right here. There we go. That's the right answer right there. Go on there. One of the other problems that you have, remember, you're gonna have to use the letter E. So this was the third problem that we did. So it was 250, and then you multiply E. E can be found where it says function. You hit function, and E's right here. You just hit E, and then you just do the same thing on there. And then you do, this one was 0.04 times 20, I believe. And then there's the answer right there. You can actually do multiple calculations. You can have a running tab. You can do the next problem on here and everything and so on and so on. And pretty straightforward. So this assignment, today's assignment is called compounding interest. It's due on a Wednesday. After Wednesday, it's late. All assignments are due by March 31st. That's the day we take a test for this topic. So that's just kind of where we're at. But anyways, I wanted to show you that. If you have any questions regarding how to type it in or today's notes, let me know.